Chapter 10 also covers many social publishing platforms. So to wrap up our discussion on social platform, we are going to talk about short social conversation. And those short social conversations happen in the form of discussion boards, Q&A sites, social bookmarking sites, and social news sites. So specifically today, we're going to focus on discussion boards and social bookmarking sites. And first, we're going to start with discussion boards, which are really short social publishing sites. So what we've talked about so far with our social publishing, we focused on blogs and we've looked at articles and other sites where it's really long form writing. So first, what a discussion board is. A discussion board is a service where participants can exchange messages, and they're usually short, only maybe 100 words or so, so even shorter than a blog. And discussion boards are a very early type of social media platform, so they've been around for quite a while. And discussion boards usually grow into communities with regular members who are posting often about their common interests. And discussion boards are organized into groups based on those topics of interest. And then they're generally divided further into different types of forums where posts are arranged in a hierarchical fashion so that users can follow along in the conversation. Discussion boards always have moderators, and moderators are there to monitor the discussion and enforce rules and policies. So I have two examples of these discussion boards on the screen here today. The first is Yahoo Groups. Yahoo Groups is one of the largest collections of online discussions today. There are over 10 million Yahoo Groups or Yahoo discussion boards with over 115 million group members. There's also an example of a Pokemon Go discussion board, which just launched not even a week ago with the launch of Pokemon Go. And there are already over 3 million posts in that discussion board. So it's a group of people who share a common interest, who want to talk about a specific topic. That's what happens on discussion boards. And you probably you should all be participants of discussion boards because you participated in them in this class. Each of you posts in the discussion boards in the different forums about each chapter. So those discussion boards are organized into groups, and in our case, groups based on the text in the chapter. And each of you is posting a message, and a lot of you are exchanging messages with each others. I take on the role of the moderator who's there to monitor the discussion boards and enforce the rules and policies which were posted in your syllabus. So each of you are actually active currently in this type of social media platform. So how do marketers use discussion boards as platforms to reach their customers? Lots of different ways. So what we know about discussion boards is that people are on there talking to each other. So how do marketers get involved in that conversation? Well, entrepreneur.com gives us 8 do's and don'ts for marketers who are participating in discussion forums. And there's an article posted in Module 4 listing these 8 do's and don'ts. And you'll see that they are referenced as community forums in the article, but it's the same thing as a discussion board. So their first do was to register. Companies should register as a user and post in a welcome or introduction subforum as soon as possible. And so the example I have here is Dog Forum, and people get on Dog Forum to talk about their dogs. And so if you're a company like PetSmart or PetSense or Petco, or maybe a local pet store in your area, you might want to get on and register, and you can see the introduction subforum right there underneath the Dog Forum community rules, and register yourself and introduce yourself to the group. Company representatives should always be honest and very straightforward about their presence in a discussion forum. So if you're introducing yourself, you should introduce yourself as a representative for that company. Don't post any marketing messages, especially right away after you join the forum or the discussion group. Marketing and promotional messages on a discussion board can often get you banned from the group by the moderator, and you won't be able to contact any other members again. So don't go about posting lots of promotional messages as soon as you enter the forum. That's not why people are on discussion boards. They're there to discuss. They're not there to be marketed to by brands. You should contact the site administrator or the moderator with a private message letting them know who you are. In that message, you can ask about how advertising and promotion works in the forum. You can learn about things you should and should not post as a marketer, and you might be privy to additional marketing opportunities, such as a sponsorship of a post in the sidebar of the forum, or other forms of sponsorship on the discussion board itself. Don't pretend to be anyone you're not. Company representatives tend to get in trouble when they just try to act as a regular member, so they didn't introduce themselves as a representative for the company. If the forum members find out, they are a tight-knit community in themselves, and it can lead to a lack of trust in the company. So it's very important not to pretend to be just a regular contributor if you are representing your company. You should consider paid advertising on the forum and look at promoting your products via banner ads or sponsored posts. The site will designate it as so the forum members will know that you have paid to have your advertisement there, but it'll still bring a large audience for your brand. And we'll talk more about these paid advertisements in a later module. Don't push it is Entrepreneurs.com's next piece of advice. Just like on any other platform, you shouldn't be pushing your product too hard in the discussion groups. You need to make sure that your messages stay on topic and are engaging among other members. If you're trying to force a conversation, the consumer isn't going to like it and they're not going to respond well. So that's not even something you would want to risk. Do contribute, however. You're the expert. You're representing your company and you know what the products do. You know all the research behind them. So you should really work to become a valued contributor on the site, being able to talk to members, reply to customers who have questions, or you could ask your own marketing research questions in hopes of getting answers from people on the discussion board. So even though you shouldn't be posting marketing messages and you shouldn't be forcing your message on people or forcing a conversation, you should be contributing as much as possible. So for example, if you were PetSmart and you wanted to contribute in this what's your favorite or what do you think is the best dry kibble brand discussion forum, you could post things like, at PetSmart, we see that most customers are buying X, Y, and Z. How do you feel about these products? There's ways to get involved in the conversation without directly posting marketing messages. And the last piece of guidance we get from Entrepreneur.com is to not ignore criticism. If people are criticizing your brand or your company or your messages, you should immediately respond to those complaints and criticisms, but you should do so in a true and transparent fashion, just like we talked about early in this course of being open, honest, and transparent online. So you probably noticed that almost all of these rules tend to follow the same general rules for engagement that we talked about for all social media platforms. And you are correct, but I felt it was important to reiterate them again as we're talking about developing content to post on social publishing sites. Discussion boards as a whole, as an individual platform, really have not seen a lot of growth since 2010. And a lot of this is due to the fact that other social networking sites are offering discussion boards as part of their service offering. Facebook has a mini discussion board platform built in to their platform already, so customers are starting to move their conversations into other social networking platforms. But even though growth has slowed for these platforms and conversations are moving to social networking, we'd be remiss if we didn't stay up to date on the social conversation that's happening about brands, products, and services on these very specific discussion boards. So again, you have a discussion board available to you for this chapter, chapter 10. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of discussion boards. Maybe if you've participated in a discussion board outside of a higher education context, and whether or not you think that there's a place for them in social media in the future.